Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video. I hope you had a great day. Let's take a look at some new malicious compliance stories, shall we? The first story is called "They Wouldn't Pay Me, so I Didn't Do It." As a teen in the early 80s, I was a radio announcer. One of my jobs was at an AM daytimer. That is a radio station that signs on at sunrise and signs off at sunset. The studios were separate from the transmitter side. The FCC requires that there be a working remote control system in place if the operator is not physically on site. The station moved their studios across town. For some reason, the phone company did not have the remote control process in place in time. Technically, this meant that someone had to be at the transmitter site the entire time the station was on the air. I was assigned the task of turning the transmitter on and off. That meant I had to get up pre-dawn and drive about 24 miles round trip. They didn't want to pay me to stay at the site, so I went home and repeated the process in the evening. I put 2 hours on my timesheet for each morning drive and 2 hours for each evening drive. I wasn't allowed to charge mileage. The owners questioned my daily for hours and say it should only take a minute to turn the transmitter on and off. They refused to pay me for this time, which was probably about $15 per day. Cue malicious compliance. If you are not going to pay me to do it, then I'm not going to do it. Get someone from the outside engineering firm to do it, which they did. The engineering firm, which wasn't going to court for any issues with the FCC, stationed someone at the transmitter site from dawn to dusk, charged the radio station for 12 plus hours a day, plus travel time, plus mileage. The radio station ended up paying $250 plus per day for an on-site operator until the phone company got the remote control system working, because they balked at my measly $15 per day charge. The next story is called "Tired Women Deserve It More." A long time ago, in about 1996, I was riding the long bus to school just like every other day. I get on, take the last vacant seat and just ride for a few stops. In between, a woman and a few others entered the bus but had no free seats, so they stood there. After 2 milliseconds, the entitled woman boards the bus and just orders me to get up so she can sit there. I would have usually always given my seat to others, cause I'm kind. But the audacity and Karen-like behavior of demanding the seat was too much, so I just ignored her. Then she snaps at me and screams at me for being rude, disrespectful and much more. I still ignored the high-pitched screams, and then she starts lecturing me about how kids can stand, but tired women deserve the seats much more than anyone. Cue malicious compliance. I heard the magic word women and just then saw a pregnant woman standing in the bus a few feet away. Still ignoring the entitled witch, I asked the pregnant lady to come here and take my seat as I stood up and let her sit. The pregnant lady was thankful, but then the witch spins me around and says, "Why did you give the seat to her and not me?" I just replied with her own words, "Tired women deserve the seat more than anyone." She just looks at me and just walks to the other end of the bus, realizing that she lost. That was a petty thing to do, but still worth a reaction. The last story is called "I Want the First Deal." I work at a family-owned video game store in a big shopping strip at the beach. We are 80% retro stuff, but we always take modern games and consoles because they move quickly, especially these days. I'm working my Tuesday opening shift, which is going as slow as weekday mornings usually do. Then one of my favorite regulars, an old gentleman that loves talking movies with me, comes into the store. Not even a minute after, a woman, who I'll be referring to as Country Karen due to her accent, also enters the store. I say hi to the regular. Country Karen comes to the counter. I tell him I'll be back once I'm done, and the regular went to check out our Blu-ray trades from the weekend. Country Karen starts to explain that she bought 2 Switch lights for her nephews, not realizing that they already had a regular Switch in the house. She says the kids lost the receipt, entirely her own fault for giving it to kids, so she can't return it and wants to know what I can do for cash trade-in. She seems a little frazzled, but I chalk it up to stress and annoyance at her situation, since she explained she just came in from being told no at Target. I take the Switch Lite and take it out of the box. It's about as factory new as it gets, with only a small T on the box and a few kid-sized fingerprints on the screen I can wipe off. She says she just wants as much money back as she can at this point. I pull up the trade sheet to double check our trade rates. A Switch Lite retails for $200. We normally sell used ones at $180 and give $100 store credit or $80 cash. Since the Switch Lite is basically factory new with the box, I decide to give her a bit of a deal. Well, normally Switch Lites only trade for $80 cash, but I can do $110 for this because it's a popular color and in really good condition with a box. What? That's so low. GameStop has a promotion and will give me $140 for it. Can't you do any better? Normally, we try to beat GameStop's everything by at least 15%, but being corporate with more employees and less stock per store, they can get specials and promotions done we can't. Plus, we can only match them on trade value for newer consoles due to the little profit we turn taking them at GameStop's prices. I explain this to Country Karen, and she goes from frazzled and a little impatient to, well, a Country Karen. Wow, I thought you guys would be better than GameStop, since you are a small business, but if you are going to nickel and dime me, I'll just go to them from now on. I audibly scoff at the woman's rudeness and tell her good luck. A perk of working family owned, I don't have to lie down and take such behavior. She gives me a nasty look, takes her Switch Lite back and leaves the store. There's a couple in line behind her with a bag or two of game trades each by this point, so once she's gone, I start helping them. The regular brings up a few of our movie trades, all four of us start talking movies while I get the games done. Mornings on weekdays usually aren't too bad, but for some reason I had a huge line of nothing but trade-ins come in while I was helping the first two guys out, and I was the only employee in the store that day. I finished the second person's trade and excused myself from the movie talk to focus on powering through the line of new people. I'm about halfway done with the second box of SNES and Nintendo 64 games when Country Karen returns, looking very unhappy. I put on my best customer service smile and say welcome back. She ignores me and cuts past the rest of the line. I need to trade this now. I have to pick my nephews up from daycare and need the gas money. GameStop said their promotion is over. Sorry to hear that, but I've got other customers I'm helping right now. You will have to get in line. I said I need to trade this now. They are out soon and all this running around is going to make me late as it is. I look at the gentleman I'm helping, who shrugs and says he doesn't mind, then at the four other people in line with boxes or bags of trades in hand, patiently waiting for their turns. The next person in line is watching and giving Country Karen the audacity of this idiot face I've ever seen. Since it's one item and normally only takes a minute, I tell Country Karen fine, I'll ring her through quick. I suspend the current trade, take the light, double check it, then add it into the system and ask Country Karen for her ID, which she loudly sighs about and takes a minute digging through her purse to find. The next guy in line definitely isn't happy with her attitude, makes a comment to the woman he's with that Country Karen and I can't make out. Karen finally finds her ID and hands it over. I enter her info into our customer database, up the trade of the Switch Lite to $110 and tell her the total. Much to my surprise, she balks at me. You told me $139.99 earlier. I want the money you said I get the first time I came in here. No ma'am, I said $110 because it's… She cut me off. No, you told me $139.99. I want the money you said I'd get the first time or there's going to be an issue. That was just a plain lie, since every single trade in our store rounds to a whole dollar amount. But Country Karen keeps insisting I told her what I'm assuming was the GameStop promotional trade price. At this point, both I and the next guy in line are done with Country Karen. He loudly sighs and says, "Come on, man." But Country Karen either can't hear him or doesn't care. I, on the other hand, give Country Karen another winning service smile. Sure, your trade will be $80 cash then. I can see the few brain cells left in Country Karen's Vino head trying to process how the value has gone down instead of up. That is less. I want the money. At this point she's yelling in the store, so I use my 8+ years of singing bass in church chorus to talk over her without sounding like I'm yelling back. I told you normally Switch Lite trades for $80 cash, but that I would cut you a deal for $110. If you want the amount I told you the first time, that's $80. My regular and one of the first two trades are still near the till, and they both pipe up to support me and say I did, in fact, give her those numbers. Country Karen got red in the face and realizing her mistake starts to backpedal. God, fine, just give me the $110 so I can leave already. No ma'am, you were very firm about wanting the first amount, so it will be $80 cash for the trade. Country Karen looks like she's about to explode before she checks the time on her phone and deflates. Just give me the money. So I ring out the transaction for $80 and make her sign the receipt saying she agrees to the trade. Then I loudly count $80 cash in 20s for her, which she snatches off the counter and stomps out the store with. Meanwhile, the next guy in line is bent over the box of games in his arms, laughing. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. It really helps in the algorithm. Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.